Alright, so Echoes of Wisdom has been out for a little bit of a while, and as I've been playing, I've been discovering there are a couple little techs that are actually kind of super nice and convenient to know how to do, and the best part about it is that most of the techs that I've discovered you either get super early on in the game, or you get it in the Gerudo's Desert. So what I suggest is you basically immediately go to the Gerudo's Desert when you have the opportunity to, so that you can get these techs. With that said, let's get on with the first tech. I call this the Heaven's Staircase. It requires a flying tile, and that is it. That is the only thing it requires, and it's super simple to do once you get used to it. You just have to get used to it. The stone tiles are the flying tiles are all over the desert. You go into lots of caves, you'll end up running into the flying tiles, which is why I suggest going to the Gerudo Desert first. They're very simple, so they rise up, and then they take you forward. That's their basic purpose, and you might be saying, well, what's so useful about that, right? I could use many different things that are pretty fast and get mobility. Well, let me show you why I call it the Heaven's Staircase. You can literally perpetually use the stone tiles and get yourself higher and higher as long as you're doing it correctly. Now, what you might be saying is, well, okay, so the stone tiles, they seem effective, but I can just use the crow method, right? Where I just need meat and I need a crow. Well, yeah, this is efficient and it most certainly takes you very far. It's pretty easy to do. You suffer with having to go as fast as the crow takes you, and the crow doesn't really take you that fast. Not only that, but when you reach the sky ceiling, you have to reset and you fully reset your crow, otherwise it's just going to go down. So you have to reset the whole entire thing and do it all over again. And what's worse is if you set this up somewhere and you're trying to get yourself some height and you misplace it just a little bit. If the crow runs into any kind of walls or anything like that, the crow can just get access to the meat and you have to reset all over again. That is why I suggest the stone tiles, because if you're using the stone tiles, the flying tiles rather, you can literally just set a flying tile, set a new flying tile, and then boom, problem solved, right? Moving on to another tech that I discovered. This is one that unfortunately you don't access until the Pharaon wetland, but there are plenty of substitute monsters that you can use instead, namely the cargodillos, whatever they're called, caromadillos. You could use the Caromadillos as a substitute. It's just slightly less effective than this. And what I'm talking about is basically a little meat shield. So if you attach yourself to these lovely little electric guys and you just start walking around, if anything is in your way, which I'm having a struggle finding any monsters right now, which is weird. But if anything's in your way, you can just walk up to them and boom. Minimal effort, you got them perpetually stunned. They can't do anything. It's really nice to just be able to wander around, summon these guys, and be able to basically just take out whatever monsters you want. Just very simply, very easily. Like I said, they get stunned by the electric guy. You can even attach it yourself to the monsters and just have the monsters run into them. These little guys are so useful. We love these little guys. But that is not the only use that they have, as if you have them in water... Let me pull out water real quick. If you have them in water, they create a bigger field, and so basically you have a nice little protective shield. And you might be saying, well, okay, but in the water, they die, right? Sure, they'll die if they're in the water. But if you're in the water, and you can summon an infinite amount of them, then you basically have a protective electric shield, and it doesn't shock you. It's basically a free AoE blast. Now finally, I'm going to show you a 2D platforming section tech that I learned pretty quickly. So in Southern Village, you will run into a trampoline, and I'm sure you can tell where I'm going with this. Alright. So the 2D sections, right, they're kind of a pain in the butt some of the time. They're kind of annoying to deal with. You have to do the nice little platforming sections. And sometimes you got little monsters like this, right? You got the nice little these plat boom guys. And yes, you can use the plat boom guys to get nice little height. This is one of the little things you can do in the 2D section that are pretty convenient. And then you can reset it. And the next time it goes up, he'll go even higher. Which is just a really nice spice of life thing that you can do to get really high. But there's another thing that I want to show you, which is why I told you about the trampolines. So if you scroll over and you grab yourself a trampoline and you place it down, you'll get a bounce, right? You'll bounce about 1 full block high. But in these 2D sections, you can aim down. And so you can just keep perpetually setting trampolines below you. And you might be saying, oh, well, there's a limit to the trampolines. Sure, there is a limit to the trampolines, but there is no limit to the amount of trampolines that you can place. So, as long as Zelda is going down, if you place a new trampoline, Zelda will bounce off of the trampoline. And so, as you can see, I'm gaining height. Now this is very useful, and you can use it to kind of travel across the whole entire stages, just using trampolines, which is very convenient. It's a lot more convenient than the plat booms, which can only take you straight up. Not to say the plat booms aren't useful, but you can literally use the trampolines to just kind of perpetually bounce yourself through any of the dungeons. If you're in a section where you need to go far and you need to stay up, well, just use some trampolines. Boom. They're like little jumping, bouncing platforms. Magical platforms, dude. And that's realistically going to be it for today. I will obviously update you guys on any new techs I figure out in this game. I'm really enjoying it, and I find it very interesting, the kind of unique scenarios that you can find, the unique things you can do in this game. So keep in touch, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little tidbit of information.